They say that hindsight is 2020. It sure as hell is. At 60 years old, I realized I traded my life. The career that I started on, that I loved, I traded it for six figures. That at 60, I now realize it's all been a lie.
All right, more and more Americans are coming to the realization that we've been sold a bill of goods. All right. Materialism is, in fact, not satisfying to the soul, and trying to keep up with the Joneses, whether it be in a career or buying the, biggest house on the block. That sort of thing is becoming more and more difficult to achieve. So I think a lot of Americans are turning back and becoming more introspective of the real meaning of life. Let's let this lady continue.
And I can't get that time back. I can't get my life back. When I was in my 20s, after graduating college and serving in the military, I started a career working in mental health. I worked at a psych hospital as a nursing assistant. I loved it. I think I made maybe $7.50 an hour.
All right. Now remember, she said that she traded that in the career that she loved. She wasn't making a lot of money, but she loved what she was doing.
And then I got a job working as an intensive case manager, mostly with people who had schizophrenia, a lot of younger guys. I loved it. I was helping people. I was helping families. I was helping them get their medication, housing, budget their disability. I was helping families and people have a better life.
All right. So she felt fulfilled in what she was doing. But then the siren song started to play.
I made maybe $18,000 a year. I could barely afford my apartment, which I think was maybe $350, $450. I had a car payment, maybe $275. But I thought that as a single person, I thought I would probably end up living alone most of my life, and I did. But I realized making that kind of money, I couldn't survive.
And now we fall into it. We get to a point in our lives where it becomes, a reality, a crushing reality that what we love doing may not be what actually puts food on the table and pays the bills.
I was worried, and people all around me, they kind of made fun of me for doing social work type job. Everybody, it was like the 80s, early 90s, everybody was pointing me toward corporate America. That's where the security was, the real career, the opportunity, the chance to really make some money and be okay.
Bullshit.
So I listened. I gave in. I got a job at Prudential Financial, and eventually I got into testing software. It was a good career. I'm 60, I'm making, six figures. But guess what? It's a freaking bloodbath right now. There's no security. Pensions went right down the toilet. I got laid off from that job at Prudential Financial when I was 40 years old. They were going from a mutual company to publicly traded. So all about the stock prices. Now where I work, private equity owned, heads on the chopping block every.
All right, so she is basically sending out a very valuable message to these young folk out here because, at the end of the day, we as employees, W 2 employees, we are just seen as, the interchangeable commodities within a corporation, and there is no uh, respect for what you have to do. I'm not arguing that there should be, okay, from the standpoint of the corporation. We have to understand that at the end of the day, they don't care about us. No one's coming to save us. So it's important you understand the rules of the game going in. And just like a company is not loyal to you, you should be a mercenary when it comes to employment opportunities. You should always be looking to advantage yourself, because the company, they're always looking to advantage themselves with or without you.
Day, and I look at my life, my career. Okay, I have a house, and I don't know. I don't feel like I have stability in this crazy ass world, not even a little bit. I can afford some food today, but no, there's no security. That's all BS illusion, you know? The young people say, got to get off the matrix or out of the matrix. I 100% agree.
All right. So that's a one woman's opinion there. I think it's a lot of wisdom in what she just talked about. She's experienced it, right? So she's not talking about something that is conjecture. From her standpoint, she's actually experienced the disloyalty, the inflation. And here she is, an older woman. She didn't say whether or not she had kids, but earlier she did say she sacrificed. Okay, now that is solo second half. Go over and check her full story out. Now we go from that perspective to, dare I say, true freedom. People are realizing that in order to actually experience true freedom in this country, it might look a lot different than you may have initially anticipated.
I'm 51 years old today. I have no spouse, no kids, no house or apartment. I have no car or pets, and I don't even have a real job. I'm staying in a room that costs me about $15 a night right now. But you know what? I've never been happier.
All right. So here we got a different perspective. This gentleman, uh, it doesn't have any obligations, be they familial, material. He's got no mortgage. He's got a roof over his head. But look, there's a reality. There's a cold reality that comes along with this that we'll discuss later. But let's hear some more from this gentleman.
So I think back to where I was 2 years ago, 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and beyond. I've worked in IT for 25 years. And in those 25 years, I worked in a variety of jobs for a variety of companies in a variety of places. And it just wasn't for me anymore. I felt like I had reached an end to that part of my journey, and I couldn't do it anymore. The combination of the stress and anxiety of the job, and realizing that I was approaching 50 very quickly, and felt that many parts of my life were still unfulfilled. So I decided, to pack it up and go see the world. And now here I am 12 months later, and it's been a remarkable year.
All right. So with this man, he came to an epiphany. That epiphany said to him, you know what? There's only one thing you're going to own, and that is your relationships and your experiences. I don't care if you got the biggest house, the fanciest car, the best clothes. Someday, all of those items will belong to someone else. We temporarily possess those things while we're here, right? I mean, walk into any Goodwill, you'll see what I'm talking about, right? Let's let this gentleman continue. And by the way, this is Wander Beard on YouTube. This gentleman right here.
Just because the system that we're in, the society that you are a part of, tells you that you're supposed to work your whole life to pay for a house that you probably don't need, um, why not use that time for yourself and to go enjoy it and explore places that you've wanted to go and things you've wanted to see, and rekindle that passion that you have for doing something different.
So again, he's emphasizing the experience aspect of it. Life is short. He mentions that. And he encourages people not to wait, to go ahead, because you never know how much time you're going to have. And you come to a point where you say, at the end of the day, uh, when they're reading my eulogy, what will I have ever amounted to? I tell you, one of the saddest funerals I've ever been to was a gentleman that died, and he pretty much, there was nothing to really read besides the fact that he worked at a particular company for a long time. Other than that, uh, the gentleman hadn't, he'd come into this existence and gone out, and there was absolutely nothing remarkable at all that he had experienced or accomplished. Okay. Sure, he had the house. He had a Trans Am back when Knight Rider was on the air. So he was doing gangbusters. Right now, I will say to this gentleman on screen, Wonderbeard, one of the things he has said, he's over 50. When it comes to the living arrangement, as you get older, that becomes even more important because you got to have a place to lay your head. That's one of the most basic needs of any animal, is some sort of place where you can go and call your own and be safe and enjoy some of those categories on Maslow's hierarchy of needs, safety being chief among them. Now, with rent and mortgages becoming further and further out of reach, my concern for this gentleman as he continues to age is, he's renting a place for $15 a day. He said, how long can that continue if his income situation is not such that he's bringing in enough to actually, you know, go out and get a mortgage, for example? And at this stage in the game, 50 years old, 30-year mortgage, what is he looking at, right? It being 80 years old before he pays it off. So that's my concern. I don't know his income situation. Maybe this guy invested very well throughout his life and doesn't have to worry about things like that. But I would say that you have to temper the drive to be free. And I would say that in many respects, this gentleman is indeed free. You have to temper that with the reality of aging and the reality of needing safety, health care, uh, some modicum of stability as we age. All right, so more and more people are taking this approach, waking up, opting out. And I think that as the economy continues to struggle globally, as we continue to see phenomenon like AI take jobs, we're going to see more people arriving at this epiphany at a much younger age. So we'll continue to monitor it.